Yeah, let's start. All right, let's start with hive tests for once.
Hi, Philip. Addition, Igor has something else to add. I guess that everything that is covered on the lines that you already wrote is okay. That we have been fixing. Well, Igor fixed the errors on Erigon, and I am working on the merge, which already broke a couple of tests. Although I'm trying to figure out how to solve them.
Awesome. Okay, well, then let's move on to client updates. Nethermind. I saw that's a new release, I think.
Lucas, would you take care?
I think the release is mostly for the new testnet, and we will have like a properly release very soon, like with new functionalities and bug fixes.
Okay, so I guess no updates regarding Gnosis then.
Yeah, I think no. The next one will definitely be, and I think the testing is already started because we wanted to release it already, but we found some regressions and like ironing them out one by one and getting there.
Okay, thank you. Erigon, yeah.
No update from Erigon.
Good. Okay, so for Geth, Guillaume couldn't come, but he told me that so he got pre and post states for Shadow. I mean pre-hard fork and post-hard fork states for Shadow, and he's going to implement Shanghai to see if he's getting the right results. I mean, yeah, to see if by going through the hard fork he gets the right post state. And then hopefully he'll find why it still doesn't work. So yeah. And I also set up an archive Nethermind node for him so that he can like do trace calls and get state and whatever. So that hopefully it could help him. All right, then on the consistent layer side, Lighthouse merged the Shadow config. It was a bit more difficult than anticipated, but they did all the hard work, so that's very cool. Except for that, I guess there's not so much regarding the clients. Not sure. Gateway, do you have any news?
Also no updates for this week.
All right. So for mainnet, there's this autoclaim thing. We've made a bit of progress. Basically, we're going with a contract architecture. Sorry. Where you would register, like you call a function to register basically to get autoclaims, and this could be integrated in the deposit contract at some point to not make the claim function public anymore in case it becomes an issue at some point. So yeah, the idea is to be a bit composable in that regard. But except for that, nothing much. Just having a quick read at last week because I wasn't there. Yeah, I guess there's nothing to follow up on. Is there something regarding the big block experiment? Maybe Lion, do you know?
No, but I want to touch on a related subject later.
Okay, well then I guess go ahead because there's not much else to say.
Cool. Yeah, now that Nethermind people are here, I would like you guys to share if you have more details on the history of the XDay chain on the early days and if there were different like spam attacks and how that was dealt with. Like I remember that there were specific changes to, I think, the priority contracts or something like that to deal with it. So if you could do a recap since when you guys were started to contributing to the project and what was the history of dealing with spam and different spam attacks and how the chain dealt with that sort of issues.
So we started to work in 2019 on implementing Aura consensus, and then later PostDAO. But truth be told, I'm not much aware about this potential spam attack. This was something that POA team dealt with in terms of like they owned all the contracts and all the stuff like that. So I don't really have much recollection of details there.
Okay. The thing is, it would be relatively cheap to force the chain into having to process a significantly higher share of bandwidth today, right?
Not sure what you mean.
So to fill a block at the current gas prices is relatively cheap.
Yes.
I would imagine if you go for 100% on the maximum post EAP 1559, the gas fee would increase exponentially. But if you stay at 49%, you could spam the network. Well, not spam, but force the network to process a significantly higher amount of data than is currently used to at a very low cost.
Yes, potentially.
I wonder, what are the block? I think right now we are averaging about 5 and 10% of block capacity, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, my point is, how would clients be affected in terms of performance if there was a sudden spike on usage? What would suffer first?
Well, I expect 15 million gas usage is like in spec. So the storage will be the user will be the thing that hit the most. That the user operation costs might increase, node operation cost.
So in terms of bandwidth, how
Yeah,
much
it
worse
should be
can it
fine. Network bandwidth?
Yes. Because I think like even today, bandwidth is not the limiting factor, right? Like the CL is much more bandwidth hungry than EL.
Yeah, I don't see problems with bandwidth really. I don't see problems with block processing really. I don't see problems with anything. So it will just work. Just the node operators might be angry because their costs will rise very quickly, right? Of storage.
Cost of storage, yeah.
Mhm.
But to hit limits, it would still take, say, sustained pattern of high usage. It's not something that would change quickly.
For a long period of time.
Not even block processing.
Well, block processing will be slower, right? That's definitely, but I would say it still should be in the norm, right? So 15 million is less than 1 second on even pessimistically on a decent, good enough machine. And when we will ship new state layout, which again, I still hope this year, it will decrease a lot even. So it would be hundreds of milliseconds or something, even 15 million should be. So not a big deal.
Got it. Well, I guess for Gnosis specifically, it may be because we have the shorter.
Yeah, time is shorter, right? So the error margins are a lot smaller. I agree. That is even more important to ship the new state layout, and it's being really hardly worked on for quite a long time already. So I still think we might be able to ship it this year or early next year.
So I was bringing this up, saying like now there is not a high usage of the chain, and post merge we have not been in any bull market after the merge. So my concern is now that we have such a high distributed count of nodes and solo stakers and people running at home, if there was a high level of usage, could the network introduce newer risks in this realm where people have not provisioned their setups for a bull market?
It is always possible, right? That some people will get left behind because they are on, I don't know, very slow SSDs that don't have good access patterns, or their network bandwidth is very low. We cannot really do anything about it. In terms of generally increase the cost of this potential high usage, like sporadic high usage, there was an idea to have a mean base fee cap that, for example, base fee couldn't drop below some amount. But yeah, it wasn't implemented.
So, I mean, Gnosis fee doesn't go lower than 1 gigaway. Is that the same for Ethereum?
Maybe it's already implemented, this 1 giveaway. No, I think the mean is like there's some minimal value based on does the calculations rounding, but I think it's around 7 way, or I don't remember, to be told from by heart.
I think it's 7 way, but then the priority fee is always at 1 gigaway for some reason.
Okay, I'm not sure, truth be told, from heart, like from memory. I would have to double check these things. But yeah, there is. So again, why is 1 gigaway then? Can you repeat, because I didn't get that.
I don't know specifically, but the priority fee is often quite high, but the base fee is, I think, the minimal base fee, I think, is 7 way.
Okay. So we could potentially, for example, make the minimal base fee higher, right? Artificially, even without demand. That was the idea.
Yeah, just checking, and there is no definitely mean base fee.
I remember that when we discussed that, Thomas Stanchak was quite against it, just saying that it will just rise up naturally if needed. So I don't have an opinion. I'm not an economics expert here.
Got it. Okay, but I think I got my answer. So thank you.
All right. So for the big block experiments, there's no news, I guess. Then in this case, I think we've said everything. Or does anyone have any? Sorry, go ahead.
The conclusion basically is we can, because it's going to be a short thing, it will not have an impact on the network, and we can also time these other concerns and have specific measurements would be good.
So are we not doing one then?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Good.
So you want to deliberately spam the network with big blocks?
Yes, exactly that.
Okay, that's not a bad idea to test it. Even if there will be some hiccup based on latency, the network should recover quickly, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest problem is the latency, in my opinion, and the reduced time slot, right? So if the block is big, then it takes longer to propagate on the CL side. So the attestations have less time, and then it's also longer to process on the DL side. So yeah, it can add up. So and we are especially wanting to deliver this new state layout because it will be a huge benefit. So for example, when we do block processing and we profile it, 80% of the time is of that time of block processing is actually getting data from the database. So, and when we profiled it after the change in one of our experimental branches, it's now 20% of the total time of block processing. So, and it's not even optimized to the max yet. So maybe there's even less. And then we also want to optimize more the other parts of block processing, but that's already a few times reduction, right? In the total processing time. So yeah, So because we are currently using similar as Geth, Geth also wants to move to path-based storage, but they are in the better condition because they have snapshots for SnapSync, and we don't have snapshots yet. And it didn't make sense to do that separately. So we will be introducing snapshots with the new database layout, or maybe even a bit after. So it won't be snapshot, but the database layout will be snapshots by itself to some extent. And then we can also support SnapSync on the Gnosis chain. So just to giving you the numbers and like why this is the biggest focus on any node optimization. This is like the prerequisite of like smaller optimization. This is like the biggest elephant in the room, and I think it's the hardest thing in Ethereum really to solve the state. Solve the pruning, solve this kind of thing. So that's why it's taking so long.
Makes sense. Thanks for the update.
Yeah, that was actually quite interesting. Keep us up to date on that.
Yeah,
Alright.
when we even so one more thing, when we even like started partnership with Gnosis, we mentioned that we want to do that, and it was like I don't know, a year ago or something, and there are even two work streams in parallel that are kind of trying to do this in a bit different way, and but still cooperating, and we like they're coming closer and closer. I see a lot of progress. It's just such a big thing to do that it takes time. But again, I would hope for this year, but I won't guarantee it, right? That's my hope, and even an estimate, but not guaranteed. Just to give you more context, Geth also is working on path-based storage. Gary Wrong there is working on it, and he's working on it for like over 2 years now, and they will be releasing it soon. So yeah, just for giving you a context how much time it is. It's like the whole thing that Erigon started and did was also based on that, and it took them a few years to get there. So yeah, but it's hard problem.
Awesome. All right, anything else? Questions, comments? Well, in this case, see you next week. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a
Bye.
very good weekend.
Right. Thank you. Bye-bye.